In 2001, I went to see an old Army buddy in Germany, and since we're both modelers, we decided to visit the Technical Museum Sinsheim for some research. At that time, one of the two remaining Sturmtigers was on display there, and I got to see this piece of history up close and personal. It's been one of my favorites ever since. Now, I had built Tamiya's 1/35th scale kit, which was awesome. So a couple of years ago, I picked up their 1/48 scale version, which is the subject of this video. Hope you like it. What makes a Sturmtiger unique is that massive main 38 centimeter mortar, so it's got to be right. It's the focal point of the whole piece, and it's big even in 1/48 scale. Tamiya even molded the rifling in the barrel to make it foolproof, so leave it to me to mess it up and sand out too much of the detail trying to get that inner seam out. Time for plan B. So I ordered the Aber set to replace the rifling I had destroyed, but I just couldn't seem to get it to fit right. I even tried embossing the detail on paper, lead foil, or aluminum foil, but it just wouldn't work for me. Time for plan C. So then I thought, hey, what if I just show it firing around? So I built an armature made from styrene tube, cotton, and Christmas LEDs that I could just insert in the barrel to hide my screw up. And it looked pretty cool, but it just didn't seem right either. So on to plan D. But the problem is, I didn't have a plan D. So I set it aside and worked on other projects, but I still couldn't come up with that plan D. Eventually I decided plan D would be just to get my butt back in gear, get back on the Sturmtiger, and just do as much as I could and worry about fixing the gun later. This would not become a shelf queen. The kit ammo crane lacked a lot of detail, but I didn't want to use the Aber parts. Don't get me wrong, they look great, but at this scale, I could barely see some of them. So I went for a low-tech option and made the boom out of styrene strips and punched discs, then glued this assembly to the kit mast. I also found this sequence almost impossible to film, so this is all the footage I got. Basically, it's just this times two. It's more visible in later scenes, so I hope you get the idea. I got these Aber screens from eBay for about $10. Excellent detail, and using the black CA glue and debonder technique is definitely a game changer for me. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? For me, the painting process always starts out with a thorough alcohol wash, especially in this case where I used a lot of debonder to clean up after the screen installation. I made a mask for the ambush dots by punching out a small hole in a piece of styrene. If I were to do it again, I think I'd pay more attention to the few historic photos and just make a mask from low-tack tape. But I think this method turned out okay. I usually don't apply a coat of clear satin or gloss before weathering, but I thought I'd experiment a little this time. I'm still not sure if I like it. Maybe next time I'll use a more model-focused product. This is why I rebuilt the ammo crane, and hopefully you can see more of the detail in this shot. The cable is simply gray nylon sewing thread. I used cheesecloth soaked in diluted acrylic matte medium for the camo net. And I know, it's too big for this scale. If anyone can recommend something better for this scale, please let me know in the comments. Seriously. I was actually starting to like the way this build was turning out, so I knew I had to address the gun tube. I figured since the brass was soft anyway, I may be able to carefully, and I mean carefully, shape the correct contour with a sandpaper tube. And I think it worked. It's not perfect, but I can live with it. And for a finishing touch, I polished with some ground pencil graphite, and that was done. Weathering, especially mud and dirt applications, are very much a matter of personal taste. I tried to be conservative on this project, but I think I got a little carried away. Anyway, the main texture element is model railroad ballast and static grass held in place with VMS, sand, and ballast freeze. To blend it together, I applied a slurry of acrylic matte medium mixed with tap water. This was the first time I built the track and road wheels as removable assemblies, and I kind of liked it, at least for a small model like this. Sure made it easier to paint. Here I'm just applying random rust-colored mixtures of oil paints and pigments, diluted with odorless thinner and applied as a glaze. This method is very easy to make adjustments, and the pigments give it a nice flat finish when dry. The dust was applied in the same way, but of course with a lighter color. It may look a little heavy here, but it does lighten up as it dries, and it's like super easy to reactivate if you need to make adjustments later. In fact, I like this dust technique so much I tried it on the upper surfaces of the model. And I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. I added a few mud splatters here and there because, well, why not? To me, they just give it that little extra visual interest. And then, to tie everything together and give it a little more visual weight, I rubbed the edges with graphite dust.
And then I just couldn't resist using that round that I made earlier. It's made from an old 1/35th scale acetylene torch tank and some decals I had lying around. Nothing special, but it gives a little interest. And a little stowage on the back deck. Pencils down, the test is over, and I'm calling this one done. And here she is, another one finally finished and ready for the shelf. You know, this kit builds up great. It hits that perfect sweet spot between detail and ease of build. I've never been a real huge fan of 1/48 scale armor kits, especially as I got older. But you know what? This one might make me change my mind. So I hope you got some value out of my presentation, and if you did, I sure would appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe to this channel. And for all the folks who have already subscribed, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So until next time.